Nothing surprising to report. He died of gunshot wounds inflicted from behind. He had an enlarged thyroid and a little arteriosclerosis. And his last meal of fried oysters and cake probably didn't help matters.
He's the second Hillridge Estate resident this month. First one was identified as a Bill Donnelly. Kind of puts a new spin on their motto. Security is our priority.
Those gated communities are pretty strict. Maybe he put too much of that tam bark mulch on his lawn. Well, it was stuck to the bottom of his sneakers.
Did you say the shot came from inside the community?
Yeah, it looks like it. But their lawyers are so good they've stonewalled us out of getting anything.
Is there any connection between victim 1 and victim 2?
None so far, except for the high probability there's the same killer.
I'm sorry, ma'am. This area is restricted.
Not again.
You two know each other?
Hi, I'm Shelby Turner. I'm a reporter.
For Comet magazine.
Is that the zombies ate my babies?
Yeah, the scum of the earth, Comet.
We do hard-hitting investigative journalism. Perhaps you read a piece of mine a few months back about the Biggerstaff crime family. Dr.
Sloan.
Sloan! You two are related.
See how fast you made that connection? Boy, those zombie children didn't stand a chance.
Who's this?
Excuse me.
It's Paul Foster, the guy you were bugging me about this morning. She barged into the station and demanded to see the investigator in charge.
Yeah, well, I finished the autopsy.
Well, don't volunteer anything.
So what leads have you developed?
Nothing I'm going to share with you.
Well, there's more to this story than you realize. Foster called me. He told me that there were alien replicants living in that community. You're missing the bust of a lifetime.
Undercover in a gated community of $1 million homes.
Captain, we're getting nowhere. We can't get past the lawyers, much less the front gate.
Well, I'm not questioning the need for an investigation. It's the undercover part. What are you going to go in as, a private inspector?
No, as a resident at the victim's house. Paul Foster, as far as we can tell, he has no known relatives. Until now.
Well, what about places of business, known enemies? The usual.
No, dead ends. The guy just moved here. He lives off his investments. We can't come up with any reason why someone would shoot the guy.
What about witnesses?
None.
Well, what's your cover going to be?
Opposition. Oh, come on, now think about it. It's perfect. My father's on staff at Community General. I can set up a practice there in 2 minutes.
You can also perform a couple of surgeries. Pick up a little extra cash on the side.
No, ear, nose, and throat guy. No scalpels, just popsicle sticks.
You know, your cover is supposed to be convincing. How are you going to pull off being a doctor?
Come on, Captain. I've been around hospitals and doctors all my life. For example, take that mole on your cheek.
What about it?
It's a congenital nevus. There's one chance in 50 that'll turn into a full-blown melanoma.
Well, thanks for the warning. I'll cut it out later with an ice pick.
Slightly misshapen, flat to the skin, no hair follicles. Yeah, it's a problem waiting to happen, especially if you have a history of severe sunburn. That hasn't changed shape recently, has it?
You know, why don't we lay off the mole, okay? It's part of my personality.
So, I have your permission to go undercover?
Yeah. Just remember, no malpractice suits, okay?
Oh, and I'm serious about that mole.
Out the door's waiting.
Yep.
Name?
Steve Foster. You, protecting us from killer bees? The gun, it's a joke.
Welcome to Hill Ridge Estates, sir. Have a pleasant stay.
Right.
Ah, you must be Dr. Foster. I'm Cliff Maloney, head of the Homeowners Association here. I'm terribly sorry about what happened to your brother.
Me too. It was a real shock.
I don't know how long you and Mrs. Foster plan on staying, but for whatever that period of time, I'd like to welcome you to the community.
Mrs. Foster?
Hello, honey. I didn't think I'd see you till tonight.
I didn't think I'd see you at all.
I decided to come early.
Wish you'd warned me.
I didn't have time. I had to get groceries for the dinner party.
Thanks very much for the invitation. I think this is a great way of remembering Paul. It was a pleasure to meet the both of you. Let me know if I can do anything, and always feel free to call security. They're extremely efficient.
They have that reputation.
Excuse me.
You realize the position you put me in?
The best possible one.
We had to talk.
Of course. Suitcases, darling.
Wouldn't want to forget my suitcases. Darling, after the trip I've had. Where are you going? We need to talk.
Not until we unpack your bags. The master bedroom's up here. You're gonna love it.
Better.
And wait till you see the master bathroom. It's gigantic. From now on, whenever you hear the shower running, it means I want to talk to you in here.
Better acoustics.
No, it's the only place that we can talk safely.
Why, alien replicants so like water?
The place is bugged, top to bottom.
You've been reading too many of your own magazines.
Paul Foster told me he used to always call me from the bathroom with the water running. He said it was the only place that he felt safe.
Well, maybe he felt safe here, but I don't.
What are you doing?
I'm leaving. The steam is bad from my jacket.
Didn't you hear what I said? Paul Foster was scared.
Well, he may have been scared, but he wasn't very smart. Cell phone conversations can very easily be intercepted.
Well, I think he feels worse than anybody about that. Now that he's dead, that's a condition I'd like to avoid.
Well, the way I feel is a condition I might consider helping you achieve.
You need me.
Oh, I can hardly wait to hear how.
I already told them all that I was your wife. If you kick me out, you'll blow your cover.
Mm-hmm. And how did you find out about my cover?
I have my sources.
Mm-hmm. Well, when this is over, you're going to jail for interfering with a police investigation.
When this is over, you'll be happy I was here. Now clean up. We have guests coming over. And remember, in case Foster was right about all the bugs, and he was, we are husband and wife even when we're completely alone together.
Mm-hmm. Unless we're taking a shower.
You'll feel so much better.
That's an interesting technique, picking up a fork like that.
Protects the monograms on the handles. Too many hands would just rub it right off.
Well, these aren't monogrammed.
They should be. It's an old habit you fall back into when you're trying to keep yourself busy after your brother-in-law dies.
You know, it's funny, he never mentioned either of you.
There was a strain between Paul and Steve. It's just a tragedy they never patched things up.
She's very efficient.
Obsessed.
Pretty.
Annoying.
How do you mean?
Well, for instance, she thinks the whole house is bugged.
Is it?
Doubtful.
You're not sure.
No.
I think I'd give her the benefit of the doubt. She's been 2 steps ahead so far.
Excuse me, Dr. Foster. I've got some folks here I'd like you to meet. This is Charles and Frederica Harris. They're your next-door neighbors. And Frank and Kathleen Wolverton, they live down the block.
Right.
Dr. Steve Foster.
This is Dr. Mark Sloan. He's my boss at Community General.
Nice to meet you. Quite a neighborhood you've got here.
Yeah, sure is nicer than our old place. Certainly more efficient.
But dull. Every property is just like every other property. Fescue lawns, shag carpets. There's blonde wood and marble everywhere.
But it did put you into redecorating overdrive. You should see it wield those credit cards.
Frank complains, but I've made the house feel just like we're back in Miami.
You know, somebody did a nice job of this house.
Yes, but it's not warm. I told Paul he really should have used more color.
We are so sorry about your brother. It's a terrible tragedy.
Thank you very much.
Did you know Paul, Dr. Sloan?
Well, you know, I don't think anybody really knew Paul.
Truer words were never spoken.
Thanks for having us, Doctor. We're going to take...
Well, thank you all for coming.
I think I'll go freshen myself.
Good night.
That's, one long-suffering man. But I'm not. I know what you are. I know what you're doing here. Stay, and I'll tear your heart out and eat it with some berries and cream for breakfast. Ah, Shelby. Great dinner party. Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you for coming.
Absolutely. Wouldn't have missed it for the world.
Darling, I need your help in the shower.
I don't see anything wrong with the shower.
There.
Wouldn't it be easier just to stick those in the dishwasher?
That would wash the fingerprints off.
Oh, along with the gravy and those little bits of ham.
Just run these. We need to find out who these people really are.
You set up this party just to get fingerprints?
There is a conspiracy going on in this community. I can feel it.
There is no conspiracy. There is one bad guy, and I've got a pretty good idea who he is.
Who?
Charles Harris. He threatened to kill me, like you're trying to do with his steam.
That's wonderful.
Well, thank you for your concern.
Did he say anything about the mothership? Signals from Mishar Nebula?
No, but he did mention the Trilateral Commission and the earthquake machine the Russians have been using.
Okay, fine. Don't take me seriously, but don't come crying to me when replicants take over.
Oh, you were right about one thing. The house is bugged. I found a transmitter in the intercom.
And?
And I found a transmitter in the intercom.
Would it kill you to say thanks for the warning?
Yes. Now, how far are we going to go with this little marriage deception? Because the people that are listening are not going to stop just because the sun went down.
Don't worry. I've got it all figured out. How can you be so insensitive, you pig? You can sleep on the couch again tonight. Till I change my mind. Men. No
No, no, no.
Oh, come on, Amanda. You don't even know what I'm going to ask.
I don't do windows. I do not do dishes, so forget about it.
Look, this is a dirty silverware from last night's party. I got to get the fingerprints off of it. I can't go anywhere near the station as long as I'm posing as Dr. Stephen Foster,
Otolaryngologist.
Whatever.
All right, I'm going to work with you. I'll squeeze this in between the stroke victim and the guy that got hit by a train.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey! Your congratulations are in order.
What are you talking about?
A wife and a medical degree all in one day?
And I'm counting the hours till I don't have either.
All right, I have the chart on Donnelly here, the first Hill Ridge victim. The circumstances were almost identical to Foster's killing. They both were shot twice, once through the base of the skull and the second time through the heart. And they both were shot from behind at long distances.
We're looking for a professional sharpshooter.
Sounds like a warm and welcoming community you live in.
Amanda Bentley, pathology. Yes, I'll be right down. Steve, you're not going to believe this. You have a patient waiting for you downstairs.
Right.
I'm not joking. They want you down there stat.
That means fast.
I know. What am I going to do?
What are you gonna do? You treat him, examine him, comfort him. Most importantly, don't hurt him. It's part of the Hippocratic Oath.
I never took the Hippocratic Oath.
You kidding me? In that cool jacket? That fancy name tag? You could have fooled me.
You're enjoying this, aren't you?
Yes, I am. All those times you dragged me into doing police work. All those times I stood face to face with death.
You never stood face to face with death.
All right, well, all the times I mistakenly thought I was standing face to face with death. This is payback time. There's some rubber gloves in that dispenser on the wall in case you need them.
He said I need them for what?
Probing.
You're coming with me.
I got rounds.
I need a consult.
Here's his chart.
Doctor.
Well, hey, Doc. I hope you don't mind, but I remember you said you were an ear, nose, and throat guy. Well, I've been putting off getting this sinus thing checked out for the longest time. But who better to check me than Paul's brother?
Yes, who better? Mr. Maloney, this is Dr. Travis. He's a promising young physician here.
Learning at the feet of the master.
Wow. Guess I picked the right doctor. So where did you transfer from?
Private practice. So, Dr. Travis, what would your first diagnostic move be?
Well, I think I would begin by examining the patient.
Good answer.
Oh, you're right. He's a smart one. You know, Paul never spoke too much about his family. Which of you takes after your dad?
Our sister. Now then,
Which end of the depressor do you use?
this one. Now, open wide.
Should you be examining the patient?
Well, I need a baseline for the purposes of comparison. Say, ah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, it's a good thing I decided to take a look. This tonsil back here is pretty inflamed.
Oh.
This one back here. We'll discuss that tonsil later, Doctor, but I'm afraid I may have to take it out.
Whatever you say, Doc.
You know, it's a terrible shame about Paul. I just can't imagine why anyone would want to harm a man like your brother.
Neither can I. All righty then. Let's just have a look, shall we?
Can I get a new one of those? That one's kind of wet.
Oh, you know what? We won't even use a tongue depressor.
That's how good he is.
Yeah, here we go. You know, I think I'll refer you to one of our allergists.
Huh?
We only have one allergist.
And that's the one I'm going to refer you to.
Good. Because I'd like to get to the bottom of this.
Mm-hmm. See to it, will you, Dr. Travis, and make it snappy. We're late for round.
It's the best.
I'm Paul Foster's sister-in-law. The house around the corner, the stucco one with the tile roof.
They're all stucco. And they all have tile, ma'am.
450. The TV's broken. I think the cable's out.
I'll go have a look.
Sorry we're late. Dr. Travis invited me to go on rounds with him.
Oh, please stop discouraging him.
The doctor invited himself.
Yeah, I gotta maintain my cover. Someone's already come to check on it. With my luck, the whole community will show up for an exam.
Well, while you guys were on your rounds, we were busy getting the fingerprint analysis done.
That was fast work. Deceased. What's going on?
All the guests at the party were already dead.
Oh, that's impossible. They didn't look dead. I mean, they ate, they breathed, they didn't even smell bad.
And he says he isn't a doctor.
Oh, come on, you guys cooked this up, didn't you? This is a joke.
No joke and no mistake.
Honey, I'm home.
Why did you knock? Married couples don't knock, they barge in. At least that's what my ex-husband did. It's one of the reasons I divorced him. And where have you been all day? I would expect to be abandoned by my ex-husband like that, but you're a cop. You're supposed to be a more responsible spouse.
Aren't you getting into this marriage role just a little too much?
For your information, while you were out playing doctor all day, I was busy investigating. There were people walking their dogs. The dogs looked drugged. So did the people, for that matter.
Really?
There were workmen.
They were supposed to be workmen.
They weren't working. They were watching me.
No, why wouldn't they watch you? You're new here, you're pretty.
You really think I'm pretty?
Just get to the point, will you?
There were milkmen delivering milk. Now, who delivers milk these days?
Milkmen?
Okay, how about this one? I asked the cable repairman to come check my reception. He came without an appointment.
Now, that is strange.
Did you run those prints?
Yeah, we ran a print.
Well, are you going to tell me about it willingly and get over with, or am I going to have to pester it out of you?
Well, we don't have the whole story yet. And I'm sure there's a perfectly good explanation. But the fingerprints of every resident at that party last night belong to someone who was, already deceased.
Dead people?
Let's not rush to judgment. Let's just get the facts.
This is better than alien replicants. I've got to call my editor.
No, you are not calling anyone.
The story's too big to sit on.
You don't have a story, unless you're going to make one up.
We're talking dead people.
But I'm not letting you out of this room until you promise me you're not going to call anyone.
I just don't want to get scooped.
You won't. Whatever this place is hiding, they've been doing it for a long time, and they'll do anything to protect it. We have to be careful. Now, promise me.
Okay, I promise. But I'm just a comet reporter, remember? Scum of the earth.
I trust you.
Fell changing a light bulb.
He's dead.
Cause of death looks accidental. Mr. Harris broke his neck the moment he fell. There's nothing anybody could have done for him.
I wonder.
You think the alien replicants got him? I think your wife needs you.
You okay?
I'm tired. My stomach's upset. I've seen enough death for one lifetime. Take me home.
you going?
To sleep on the couch again. Remember?
Don't, please. After everything that happened today, I really don't want to be alone. Would you mind staying up here tonight?
Not at all. Honey.
But I'm not ready to have you back in my bed yet.
It's all right. I'll sleep in the recliner. Let's just try and get some sleep, okay? Always loved recliners. Good night, honey.
Good night, darling. Thanks.
Listen, I gotta go, but do me a favor, will you? Stay out of trouble. No walks around the neighborhood.
Well, it's a new day. Something terrible is going on in this neighborhood, and I intend to find out what.
But this is a murder investigation. I don't want to come back here and find out you're the latest victim.
I won't be. I promise.
I mean it, Shelby.
I know you do.
Charles Harris had a contusion on his forehead, undoubtedly caused by the fall from the ladder. He also had a badly twisted ankle from the same fall. But what killed him was a broken neck, plain and simple. I couldn't find anything else. I looked, trust me.
I just don't buy this as an accident. The guy that threatened me at the party just happens to die in his own house changing a light bulb.
You found traces of synthroid in Harris's system.
Nothing significant, just a therapeutic dosage.
What's synthroid?
It's a thyroid replacement drug.
Well, didn't you say Paul Foster had an enlarged thyroid?
Yes, but he died from gunshot wounds, not thyroid disease.
Yeah, but I still think we ought to do a few more tests to find out what else our two bodies have in common.
All right, this is a partial gene sequence on both men, but the number of correlations is no fluke.
What's the percentage?
You tell me. I'll highlight them.
3 out of 4.
What's it mean?
Well, if a man were to run a test on you and me, we'd match up about 50% of the time. And because I'm your father, I contributed 50% of your genetic material. Your mother contributed the other half. See, there's only one way that two people can match up 75% of the time.
They were brothers.
And they kept that a secret even though they lived across the street from each other? Why? What the hell is going on?
I don't know. Certainly puts a different spin on the Harris's threat. You know, he knew you were an imposter. He probably thought you had something to do with Paul's death. He was terrified of you. Did Shelby ever explain why Paul Foster contacted her, of all people?
Well, I assume it's because she was the only person that would listen to a story about alien replicants.
I wonder. Hi.
Am I looking at the same guy that gave me the gift subscription to Smithsonian Magazine?
Yes, you are. But I'll tell you something. I didn't want to subscribe to Comet Magazine. This stuff is great. Did you know that there's an entire civilization of trolls living 11 miles under Mount Etna?
No, I must have missed that chapter in social studies.
Well, by God, Shelby knew about it because she wrote an article. And she did a 3-parter in here on spontaneous human combustion. You know that just one extra burger boy with cheese causes your body to pass critical mass to go up in flames?
Why are you doing this?
Because I wanted to find out what the connection between Paul Foster and Shelby was.
Well, she said he called it from Hill Ridge Estates.
I think she knew him long before he ever arrived at Hill Ridge.
You're kidding.
Look at this. Just after the article on the rat people living in the sewers of New York, there's a genuine piece of journalism right there about the bigger staff crime family in Miami. She mentioned it the other day.
This was written 7 months ago.
4 days before a big bus took that family down. Now, the Godfather family goes on trial this week in Miami.
So you think Foster was the unnamed source that she mentions in the article?
I think when he found himself in trouble, he called the one person he thought he could trust.
But what kind of trouble? And don't say alien replicants.
Look at this Miami newspaper. The 4 principal witnesses in the bigger staff case have been put under protective custody.
And all the residents at the Hill Ridge Estates have assumed names. And all the fingerprints match up with dead people.
Our tax dollars are worth.
Except out of the 4 protected witnesses, 3 are dead.
Well, our tax dollars don't work that well.
Well, at least we know how the 3 victims are connected and why they were killed.
We don't know who the 4th witness is, and we don't know who's trying to kill him. Headed back to Hill Ridge?
Yeah, I think it's time to find out what's really going on.
Hello, Dr. Foster.
Hey, Phil. Want to get the gate for me? It was a geranium, wasn't it? I was supposed to plant narcissus. Lieutenant Steve Sloan, LAPD. I want to talk to the man in charge.
That's good, because he wants to talk to you.
We already know who you are, Lieutenant. But thanks for your willingness to share. Oh, and thanks for the soda. It's a well-stocked kitchen you've got here.
Thank you. Now it's your turn for the ID. And not the one that says Clifton Maloney. Your real ID, your FBI badge.
Who said anything about FBI?
Unless you guys have turned the witness protection program over to the Forest Service. You're FBI. I assume you've increased security on the 4th witness in the bigger staff trial.
Well, that's very good, Lieutenant. But since you're fishing for his name, I'll just cross you off the list of potential assassins.
I appreciate that. What I don't appreciate is you keeping this secret from the local authorities. Specifically me.
It's federal jurisdiction.
Yet dead bodies keep turning up in my jurisdiction.
Oh, and I suppose that justifies you coming in here undercover and potentially blowing the entire thing.
Oh, no, you guys are doing a great job of that all by yourselves. 3 dead witnesses out of 4. You ever consider it might be an inside job?
Now, wait a minute, Sloan.
Seems to me you could use some help from someone objective, like the LAPD.
Okay. You want in? You find out what your lady friend was doing here the night Paul Foster was killed. See, our perimeter surveillance cameras caught her on film. She lured him to the north fence. He was shot on his way there.
Those shots came from behind. She couldn't have done it.
No, but she's obviously involved, or she wouldn't have been there at all. She's probably involved in 2 other murders as well. We just can't get her to tell us how.
Where is she?
She's here. She's fine.
She better be. Get her. You know, you really should have brought me in on this earlier.
Oh, took us a while to check you out, Lieutenant. And then we were hoping she was going to slip up and tell you something.
And all you got was the sound of running water.
She's a very attractive woman.
You got enough to charge her?
Not yet. But we will.
Steve. Thank God.
You all right?
Yeah.
Good. Shelby Turner, I'm placing you under arrest. You have the right to remain silent.
What?
What do you think you're doing, Lieutenant?
I'm arresting her for interfering with the police investigation.
You can't do that.
Well, you prefer I take her in as a material witness in a homicide?
I prefer you leave her here.
I've illegitimate charges I can bring against her. You don't. As soon as you do, let me know. I'll return her to your custody. In the meantime, she's my prisoner and she's going to my jail.
You're interfering with a federal investigation, Lieutenant Sloan.
Under the circumstances, it's my sworn duty to interfere. You can't even keep your own witnesses alive.
This isn't over.
Got that right. As soon as he uncuffs me, I'm gonna strangle him.
Keys. Give him the keys.
If you take me to jail, I'll kill you. I swear it. But tell me you don't believe him.
You make it kind of hard when you keep threatening to kill me.
Right. Look, you've been playing the sullen cop for 45 minutes. Are you gonna uncuff me and we can talk about this or not?
I really should arrest you, you know.
I didn't kill Paul Foster.
I know.
Well, then why are you pulling this "it's my sworn duty" thing on Maloney?
Because I can't leave you with someone who might have already killed 3 people. Now tell me about Paul Foster, and this time tell me everything.
He was my source inside the bigger staff crime family. 7 months later, he calls me up and he tells me he's got this even bigger story, but his life is in danger. And he needs me to help him survive.
So he arranged for you to meet him outside the Hill Ridge Estates that night.
I didn't lure him to his death. I didn't have anything to do with any of it. You believe me, don't you?
You make it difficult.
I know.
I mean, really difficult.
I know.
I can't believe this.
What, that you're falling for the scum of the earth?
No.
I can't believe I'm falling for someone who would call me the scum of the earth.
I never said that.
You sure?
Absolutely.
Well, then.
You, really believe in spontaneous human combustion?
Let me show you how it works.
Ah, I see you're still on the Hill Ridge Estate case. You know, he's not really a doctor. He just likes to pretend.
So then I opened up the back of the phone truck and I see all this equipment inside. Miniature cameras, parabolic microphones, even ammunition. All of a sudden, a couple guys grabbed me and they tossed me inside.
The truck was parked in front of the Wolverton house, wasn't it?
How'd you know?
Just a guess, because at your dinner party, Kathleen Wolverton said her home was Miami.
Where the bigger staffs operated. Nice guess. You want a job at the Comet?
No thanks.
So we know that Frank Wolverton was the 4th witness, but we're still no closer to finding the killer.
I think the FBI is behind it all. I think this is a conspiracy that reaches to the highest levels of our federal government. Sorry. Sometimes I can't help myself.
Did you see Frank Wolverton at all today?
No, I did see his wife, though. She said he was hiding while the workmen buffed her new hardwood floors.
She's obsessed.
More than that. You noticed more than you thought you noticed. Amanda, I'd like you to do a recheck on an autopsy for me.
I'm giving her back. I already called Maloney. He knows what's coming.
Boy, the Wolvertons really have a nice place.
She's not in handcuffs.
When I changed my mind about arresting her, I decided to start dating her instead.
Well, Mrs. Wolverton, you were absolutely right to redecorate places lovely.
Thank you, Dr. Sloan.
Tiffany and I just love them. And a Persian rug. Oh, much more attractive than shag.
You stopped by for the home and garden tour?
I agree. Shag sheds, and it's hard to vacuum.
Mm-hmm. Although, you know, Persian rugs will shed, too, especially if they're hand-tied like this one. I had the medical examiner recheck the autopsy report on that first murder victim. Mm-hmm. Sure enough, the same kind of carpet fibers on his pants leg.
Really? He must have been visiting the Utleys. I believe they have new rugs as well.
And hardwood floors, they sure can make a house a home, can't they? That is, when the varnish dries.
They do tend to stay tacky for a while.
Well, you know, even when varnish sets, it still can be really sticky on your shoes.
Yes, I guess.
Mm-hmm. That's why we found tan bark from your lawn on the bottom of Paul Foster's shoes the night he was murdered. It stuck to the varnish that he had picked up from your new floors.
Foster wasn't here the other night. At least I didn't see him.
Your wife did. He probably told her he was leaving here. He was scared that he was going to be the next victim.
And your wife made sure he was.
And forensics also found some varnished flecks on the entryway to Charles Harris's home. You tracked it in when you went in there to kill him.
I'm being set up. Frank, don't listen to them, please.
Kathleen, what have you done?
She used her designer touch on all three of the other witnesses. That's what she did. And you were next.
I don't understand.
Of course you don't. I wanted my life back. Couldn't stand to live here for another day. When I found out about the amount of money the bigger shops were offering for witnesses, I couldn't pass it up.
And since you're a crack shot...
Skeet. Off the back of Daddy's yacht.
I thought you loved me.
I loved you in Miami. I didn't love you in California. This isn't home, Frank. No matter how much redecorating I did, it would never be home.
You would trade my life for a house in Miami?
The right house.
Put her in handcuffs.
How'd you figure this one out?
Good forensics, logical deductions.
One very big guess.
It's gonna make a great story. You know what's so cool about it?
What's that?
There aren't any mutants in it.
I thought you loved mutants. It's not a job requirement for working at the Comet.
I think I might sit on this story for a week or two. What do you think about that?
Why would you do that?
Give the FBI a chance to relocate some of its witnesses.
Well, how about that? A reporter with integrity.
How about that? A cop with attitude. I left my makeup in the bathroom. I'll be right back. And then we can stop playing Dr. and Mrs. Foster.
Yeah, I guess we can. There's, no one listening anymore, you know.
I know.
So give him the hold. Free the hold. Listen up there, down there. Clocker those mockers.
I left Sophie this morning.
Why?
Why do you think? So I could be with you.
I'm married.
Oh, believe me, Sin, there's plenty of money to go around. Just tell Richard the marriage is over. We'll move in together. And there'll be no more sneaking around.
Come on, my marriage isn't about money. I love Richard.
Yeah, but what about us?
Ethan. You're great. You're the best. You're so much fun. Doesn't mean I'm gonna leave my husband. Come on. Come on. Come on. Oh.
Sophie, huh? You mean everything to me.
Ooh, flatterer.
Oh, Turkey! Oh, Turkey!
Hey! Get out of here!
Run!
Ethan!
You want to go to jail?
Ethan, Foster, get in here!
Get rid of the neighbors.
What is wrong with you?
I am just sick and tired of that bum.
Look, Richard. We'll be home any minute, okay? He'll take care of it. Come on. You gotta go.
I love you.
Go. Just go. Go.
Hey. Sorry, buddy, but you're gonna have to take it somewhere else, okay?
I'm Guru Roy, Diane.
Well, Roy, you're gonna have to find a better place to camp.
No.
Look, I'm really sorry that you're creating a problem.
No, you're enriched.
I'm not even a boy named Sue, okay?
Father Seton will kill you.
Don't threaten me. Hey,
Father Seton will kill you.
That's it. Stay away from my house, all right?
Father Seton will kill you.
Come on back.
Father Seton. I'm not enriched.
Good. What is your name?
Sol Agnew Gore.
2 vice presidents. And bipartisan to boot. You know, I'm impressed. Has the doctor ever put you on medication?
Jesse, could I see you for a minute?
Get out of my head!
George?
Help me. Help me. Father Seton wants to kill.
George had such a wonderful creative mind. You know, I remember one day I was teaching, and George raised his hand and started talking. It wasn't making any sense at all. And I thought it was me, that I didn't understand his thinking. Then he started talking about voices in his head, and it was the beginning of schizophrenia.
Couldn't you get him to agree to hospitalization?
We got him into treatment, all right, but he just walked right out of the hospital.
Never came back.
Well, Steve and I found him wandering around the beach at Venice, and we persuaded him to come back into treatment.
And then?
Well, you know, pharmacology wasn't as sophisticated as this today. He complained that the medication made him groggy, made his mouth twitch.
Tardive dyskinesia.
Exactly.
And you couldn't get a 5150?
Well, he wasn't showing any violent symptoms at all, so we couldn't hold him involuntarily. So the third time he turned down treatment, we had to let him go. Couldn't do anything about it.
Cynthia told me you left your wife. How's Elliot taking this? Well, he's 14 and furious.
Are you sure you can't stick it out until he gets to college?
I don't think it's too little too late for that now.
Are you sure?
Well, what about you?
What about me?
If Richard had a fling, would you forgive him?
Richard doesn't have flings.
No, supposing.
Oh. Well, I guess you don't know the answer to that till it happens.
It's not a worry, believe me.
What about you? If Cynthia had an affair, would you forgive her?
I don't know. I mean, I guess it would depend on the circumstances.
I did the unpardonable. I fell in love.
Wow. Is this woman in love with you?
I thought she was.
She's a happily married woman, this lady, isn't she?
How can you possibly know that?
Oh, well, see, now, a single woman would be thrilled to have Ethan's announcement, but a married woman would choose a married man because a married man is safe.
Oh, great. So, to me, she's the love of my life. To her, I'm merely low risk.
Yeah, but why would a happily married woman have an affair?
Oh, come on. Change? A little excitement?
Taste of the forbidden.
Well, I must lead a very sheltered life then.
I'm not going to suggest you do what I did, Richard, but I gotta tell you, the sex was great.
What are you gonna do now?
Get on my knees and beg.
Well, that's great. I think Sophie will listen.
He's not talking about Sophie.
Are you?
No, I'm going to tell my married friend that I love her so much. I'm willing to continue the affair on her terms.
Well, she should tell you to go straight to hell. But when you say it like that, she just might say yes, Ethan. Mark.
Oh, good. Jesse, would you take that?
Yeah, sure.
And this.
Huh?
And this. There it is.
There, what is?
Well, it's hot in here. I was trying to figure out why I had the only office in the hospital that wasn't air-conditioned.
What do you want me to do with these?
Just put them in empty space someplace. Oh, that's state. Uh-oh. Well, that'll do it.
What are these for?
Oh, I found an old crossword book of mine, which is why I bought all these dictionaries the last time I was trying to do them.
Maybe I could help.
You do crosswords? I've got one here for you. Try this on for size. Musician of many words, 8 letters. The middle 2 letters are D and H.
Sondheim. Stephen Sondheim.
Of course. I was trying to think of a syllable that started in D-H.
Like Dharma, the Hindu principle that rules the universe.
That's right, that starts with D-H.
Jodhpurs?
You're very good.
It's just a quirk or a trick. I don't know. It's a talent I have, I guess.
Well, faster than I am. Did you want something?
Yeah. Dr. Burke said that George is stable and he's ready to release him.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so maybe you can go talk to him.
Well, he's not going to listen to me.
I don't want you to say a word. Just listen.
Sophie.
No, not one word, or I won't be able to get through this. Elliot's a mess. He can't understand what you're doing, neither can I. So I'm making a one-time offer. Tell me it's over. Come back home. We won't ever have to speak of this again.
What makes you think I want to come back?
You have a son.
What good is it going to do him to have a miserable father?
Since when did I make you miserable?
Since I found out what it's like to be in love.
Who is she? Who broke up my
What
marriage?
difference does it make? We never loved each other anyway.
You married me? Oh, you bastard.
I had money. You had looks. That's not love. It's just enough.
I'm gonna make you pay for this.
Hello.
You alone?
No.
I seem to have an extra pair of tickets for Aida tonight. Care to join me?
Let me check with Richard.
Who's that?
Ethan has an extra ticket to Aida.
Is that the one where they're sealed in the cave and use up all the air by singing?
Yes, it's a beautiful love story. Mwah.
Go.
You sure you don't mind?
Let's see. Ethan gets a friend when he needs one. I get to stay home. And you get to go see that ridiculous opera. Sounds like a great deal to me.
We're on.
He doesn't know a thing, does he?
Nope. Say, listen, I have to be at the Beverly Hills Hotel. Why don't you pick me up there, 6? Yeah? I'll see you then. Goodbye. So the police didn't press any charges?
They hardly ever do in cases like this.
Well, then maybe we can have him arrested.
What for?
I don't know. Disturbing the peace.
Well, he spent a couple of days in jail. That doesn't sound good to me.
He's just gonna be back out on the streets again.
If I can just get him to stay. George.
No.
You don't even know what I'm going to ask you yet.
No.
George, if you could just stay a few days, we can adjust your medication.
No.
You could have some clean clothes, nice bed.
It may be too late.
Too late for what?
Father Seaton is going to do something terrible.
Sorry. Is that who I think it is? Yeah, George Lawson. Could have been a great doctor.
One-eyed mule. Alien jumpers!
Oh, we're so bad.
The worst.
Hey, come for a drink, huh? Richard, eat with us. What is that?
No.
What is that?
Come on, I'll call the cops. Come on.
Mr. Lawson? Take it easy. Mr. Lawson, I need to ask you a few questions.
You're Eli. Eli the cop.
I'm Lieutenant Steve Sloan. Dr. Mark Sloan is my dad. You saw him at the hospital yesterday? You remember? Yeah, look in your bag.
It's Demon Truth.
Are these yours, Mr. Lawson? Is this knife yours?
Father Seton. Demon Truth. Father Seton. Demon Truth. Father Seton.
I'm sorry, Mr. Lawson. Put your hands behind your back, please. Mr. Lawson, I'm placing you under arrest. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Father Seton did it. Father Seton. Father Seton. Carl Mason.
George, I'm Dr. Jesse Travis. I've treated you here before.
Where's Carl Mason?
Jesse, this man needs to be put in lockup.
Yeah, not until we get him stable. Let's take Dr. Burke and tell him you need an ER stat.
Connie Mint.
Stay with him in the ER.
George? Believe the Tin Men icon.
George, I'd like to believe you. I don't know what you're saying.
Let's go.
What happened?
Just a second, Dad. Look, take down anything he says, no matter how little sense it makes.
What happened?
Looks like one of your former students may have committed a murder.
No. Are you sure?
We found him on a beach right outside of the crime scene.
Who was it?
The victim's name is Richard Fielding.
How do I know that name?
He's the homeowner that called the cops on George Dawson 2 nights ago, naming premeditation.
If we could just have found a way to commit George, it might never have happened.
Dad, you can't blame yourself.
Is that what I tell Richard Fielding's widow?
Dad, sometimes people just slip through the cracks of the system.
A man's dead. I failed a patient and a student. Can't just rack that up to the system. Let it go at that.
You have my cell number. Please do not disturb the widow. You can call me about any details.
Thank you.
They have to do an autopsy before releasing the body to the funeral home. As soon as they do, I'll finalize all the arrangements.
Oh, thank God you're here. How do women handle this on their own?
That's something you'll never have to worry about.
I thought he was just a harmless drunk.
Yeah, well, we all did.
George, you know what happened?
I didn't take my medicine.
And then what?
Drank West Crop.
What does West Crop mean, George?
West Crop. It means West crop, you know. It's another word for pine chew.
Tell me something, George. Do you know what a knife is for?
Cutting.
Cutting what?
People. Doctors cut people to heal them.
And were you healing Richard Fielding when you cut him?
I didn't cut him.
Who did?
Father Seton. Father Seton used a knife to kill.
George, is Father Seton in your head?
Sometimes. Like you. Like him. Like an itch.
Hey, how is he?
Well, now that we got him on meds, he's stabilized.
Well, bad news is, since he's stable, he can be moved to jail.
Jail? He should be institutionalized.
Yeah, well, that's the worst news. George just admitted that he understands that a knife is a lethal weapon. So by today's standards, that means he can be tried and found guilty of murder.
Whatever happened to not guilty by reason of insanity?
Well, that went out when Hinckley shot Reagan. We're tough on crime these days. By any medical definition, George is a dysfunctional, disorganized, paranoid schizophrenic. By today's legal definition, George is sane.
That's the craziest thing I ever heard.
Yeah, well, crazy is neither a medical or legal term.
What about George's own private language?
Well, it's just that. You know, there are identical twins that have a private language. That doesn't make them insane. Is anyone else here cold?
Why is it with modern technology, everything is either too hot or too cold?
Too young or too terribly old?
Maybe that's it.
What, Cole Porter?
No, maybe George is speaking in rhyming slang. Like when a cockney calls his keys dancing fleas.
Yeah? What would rhyme with Father Seton, then?
Fields of Eden? Not that helps us.
Rhyming slang doesn't have to be direct. Take lemon, for example. In Cockney, lemon means girlfriend.
Lemon and girlfriend don't rhyme.
Yeah, exactly. But lemon is short for lemon curd, which rhymes with bird, which in British slang means young, attractive woman, which can take you to girlfriend.
That's impenetrable.
Yeah, but not to a Cockney. I bet you that George's language is perfectly understandable to him.
Jesse, didn't Steve say he was having an officer take down everything that George said?
Yeah. Do you want me to see if I can go make sense of it?
Yeah. Yeah, if this slang rhyming thing works, we might have a hope of saving George.
Sounds like a stretch to me. You know, Mark, you should really get someone to fix that.
Yeah, I know it. Old hospital.
Mr. Foster, I'm looking for Cynthia.
She's not home.
Now, maybe we could come in and talk to you for a minute, then? This is Ethan Foster. He's here when Cynthia's husband's body was found. This is Dr. Jesse Travis.
We'll stay here. I'm sure you understand. Of course. You know where she's staying? The address. Oh. Ocean Shores. You know where you told me you were staying?
won't happen again.
It won't have to. Believe me, I have no intention of coming back here to where you humiliated me.
What are you doing, Sophie?
Following you. Did you know that you can see our opera seats from the side loge? Oh, you and Cynthia were so sweet, nuzzling necks as Radames and Aida sang their farewells. Tell me, did Cynthia know you'd murdered her husband just hours before?
The police have Richard's killer in custody, sweetheart.
No, dear. The police have the man you framed in custody. You know, you never were a very good listener, Ethan. Now, I want you to try very hard to actually hear what I'm saying. I followed you from here. I saw Richard let you into the house. I saw you kill him.
Why haven't you gone to the cops?
We have a son. Knowing that you're a murderer has made me as sick as I am, and I am very sick now, Ethan. What would it do to him? No. Elliot is never going to know that his father is a murderer. He's not going to have to live with that.
That's a very wise decision.
My silence comes with a price.
That kind of undercuts the sanctimonious rage, but go ahead. You have my undivided attention.
That's a first.
Just tell me what it's going to cost.
Everything. The house, bank accounts, the stocks your partners draw. Everything.
Or else what? You go to the police, you do that, it'll be a media circus, go on for months. Is that what you want for Elliot? You said it yourself. He'll spend the rest of his life on a psychiatrist's couch. Are you really going to do that to your son?
I don't have to go to the police. The only person I need to tell is Cynthia.
You know, Jesse's right. How many women do you know who would let a man pack their clothes?
I agree. But even if there was something going on between Cynthia and Ethan, it doesn't mean... Hey, break it up!
Oh, lousy bastard!
It makes more sense than what he calls most people. Now let him go!
It's who you are!
Don't start.
What is he, crazy? A non-functional schizophrenic of the disorganized type?
George, you just gave a complete medical description of your condition.
So...
Well, all those other words, what are they? Code?
It's how my voice speaks. In my head. The voice in my head. I have to talk like my voice.
Or what?
Bad things. Bad things.
He is crazy. Just leave him alone, okay?
George, we've checked with the Catholic diocese, the Greek Orthodox diocese. There's no Father Seton in Los Angeles.
Father Seton kills.
Are you Father Seton?
No!
Is Father Seton the name of the voice in your head that tells you what to say?
No, that's Dominic Yavi.
One last question, George. Were Cynthia and Ethan having an affair?
They were true Alders.
Is that a rhyme, Alders lovers?
That's a terrible rhyme. No.
George, if you just help us understand.
I know. You're an almond cork roast. You're an almond cork roast.
Rhymes with toast.
I hope you two forgive me, but there's really no polite way to put this. Were you having an affair?
Yes. There's no point in trying to hide it anymore, I guess. What difference does it make anyway?
Did your husband know?
I really don't see
Richard was, very naive about these things. Almost made it too easy.
You make it kind of sound like a game.
It was. It was a stupid game.
Don't say that.
Ethan, every time I look at you, I think I could have been spending that afternoon
Miss Richard.
You couldn't keep your hands off of me.
That's what it's about. That's what it's all about. Look, I know in time you're hoping I'm going to fall in love with you. Don't. Okay? Excuse me.
Would you please leave us alone?
I take it the romance was not a game to you.
I hope you're satisfied.
Hi, Michelle. I've got to do an evil room machine. Help! Help! He's shook!
What's going on?
He's afraid to neck! Try the Amco!
Get me a medic, fast!
Not the bin rag!
Got time for your gibberish now. I need a medic! Is anybody coming?
He's not in her bag, not breathing.
Yeah, I can see that. Medic!
No time. He'll die. Your fault. Knife.
Oh, no. No chance.
He'd die.
Hope I can do this.
Here. In the bar?
Yeah. Guess we could all use a drink.
Evil hell. Evil hell.
Hey, great shot, son. What do you say? How about a little one-on-one? Come on.
I missed.
Look, I know you're mad at me. Things aren't exactly great for me right now. The least you can do is listen to me.
The least you can do is get off my property. Elliot, go inside.
You gotta let me talk to the boy.
You don't get it, do you? You have no place here. When I said everything, I meant it.
Elliot's not a piece of property.
Elliot is not going to have anything to do with you. I get sole custody, Ethan. Is that clear? And don't even think about fighting it. Because if the court asks for a reason why you're unfit to have custody of the boy, I will give them one.
You're taking this too far, Sophie.
Let me take it farther. If you show up here again, I'll call the cops. And I won't be talking about a restraining order.
Ed, you still trying to fix that AC?
Yeah, I thought maybe if I covered half this vent up, it'd work. Oh, I'm glad you're here. Second pile, third book.
What?
Third book down.
I got it.
Modern anagrams.
How'd you know?
Know what?
Well, anagrams. George is speaking in anagrams.
Anagrams?
Yeah, anagrams. You know, when you take the letters from words and make other words out of them. Well, Mark said that George called him an almond cork roast the other day.
So?
So, I ran it through the computer. Almond cork roast.
You can do anagrams on a computer?
Oh, yeah. It takes the computer about 12 seconds what it would take me hours to do.
And what does your computer tell you that almond cork roast means?
Dr. Mark Sloan.
And Father Seton must be an anagram, too.
Yeah, for Ethan Foster.
George wasn't raving. He was naming the killer.
How kind of you to make a house call, Dr. Sloan.
Well, not really too kind, Father Seton.
I'm sorry, what did you call me?
But not me, George Lawson. George kept insisting that somebody named Father Seton murdered Richard. It turns out that Father Seton is an anagram for Ethan Foster.
Oh, great. So a madman's anagram means I'm guilty of murder.
Well, I mean, there's a few other things, too, like the knife. For instance, it had been wiped clean of fingerprints, but not of the blood. Now, why would somebody do that?
I really don't understand how crazy people think.
Well, I don't think it's that crazy, really. I think it was a deliberate attempt to frame George for a murder that you committed. Did I tell you about George's clothes?
I'm sure you will.
Well, George refused to wear clean hospital garments. In fact, when he was arrested, he was wearing the same soiled clothes he wore the first time he was brought in.
Well, clothes do make the man, don't they?
Or unmake him, perhaps. See, George would have had to put on new clothes to commit the murder and then change back again. Now, that doesn't fit his delusional pattern at all.
Well, try this. It's really uncomfortable to sleep in blood-soaked clothing.
Well, isn't that odd that you would know that? And also, there's a question of the entry. The glass in the sliding door was broken, but the front door was unlocked, which led the police to believe that Richard had let the killer in himself, which is something he'd do for a friend, but hardly anybody he'd had a fight with 2 nights before.
You know, so far, I've only heard reasons why George didn't do this. I haven't heard word one about me.
You know, I had my son run your license plate through the computer records. And you got a parking violation that afternoon in Malibu.
I promised to pay the fine.
So I thought you were picking up Cynthia in Beverly Hills.
Yes, I did that. After I left Malibu.
Did you see Richard that afternoon in Malibu?
I don't recall.
Well, a neighbor might. You know, now that we know who we're asking about, the police are going to canvass the neighborhood. You sure somebody didn't see you on the beach that afternoon with George Lawson?
What do you think they saw?
You planting evidence. And, of course, forensics are going to re-examine the knapsack George was carrying, too.
Is this supposed to frighten me?
It really should. Because, believe me, the next time I knock on your door, I want to be with my son, and we'll be here to arrest you. And that'll be the last time that you open your own door again.
George identified Ethan's photograph.
We know Ethan Foster is guilty.
Yeah, but we can't prove it, Dad. This is an election year. The DA needs somebody who can prosecute.
You said he'd be willing to put an innocent man on trial?
All we've got is speculation and a suicide. And it might be able to talk him into accepting a plea of insanity.
But then poor George would be institutionalized for the rest of his life.
At least he'd be getting treatment.
But the thing is, he would know he was being incarcerated for something he didn't do.
You gotta admit, it's not good.
There must be something we can do.
With Ethan Foster dead, I don't know what that could be.
They said I might find you here.
Oh, God, Sophie, I just heard.
Are you blaming yourself?
You knew.
And you didn't.
I'm so sorry.
A little late, don't you think?
Yes. I feel terrible.
Oh, you'll feel worse in a moment.
You have to believe me, I never thought he would kill himself.
Of course you didn't. Just like you never thought he'd kill your husband.
What?
Your lover killed your husband. Why? To be with you. Told you you'd feel worse. Ethan loved you so very much.
This is a nightmare.
What were you thinking? That you were having a harmless little fling?
Yeah, that's all it was.
Well, 2 men are dead, thanks to your little adventure. Your husband and mine. Oh, I bet it doesn't feel so harmless anymore, does it?
You have to believe me. I didn't know.
It's not your testimony that's important, Mrs. Fielding. What I need is, Mrs. Foster's cooperation.
You'll never get that. Look, if I have to, I will get on the witness stand myself. I cannot live with the idea of an innocent man being convicted.
And say what?
Everything. Everything that Sophie told me.
It's hearsay. It's inadmissible in a court of law.
What if I say Ethan told me?
Well, that would be fine if it were true. The dying man's declaration is an exemption to the hearsay rule, but you just told me that Ethan didn't confess.
What difference does that make?
It's called perjury.
Are you sure I can give you a hand?
Thank you, Dr. Sloan, but I can manage.
I think we should discuss this inside.
Anything you want to say, you can say out here.
Mrs. Foster, I know terrible things happened, and I know you were no party to them. I'm here to beg you to come forward.
I can't do that.
Why not?
I have a son, Dr. Sloan. He knows his father committed suicide. Do you have any idea what that means?
Yes, I do. It means he's at much greater risk to commit suicide later in his own life.
I can't allow things to get any worse for my son. He is never going to know his father is a murderer.
Even if it means an innocent man goes to jail.
That's not my concern. I only care about my son. Hey! Hey!
I'm afraid you need to go back now, George.
How dare you? What are you doing with my son?
Mom, I was just hanging out with my friends.
What are they saying to you?
That man needs help, Mom.
Come on, man.
He's homeless, he's sick, and he's been accused of murder.
It's none of your concern.
There's this woman, and she knows that he didn't do it. She can prove it, but she won't.
Did it ever occur to you that this woman might have her own reasons for keeping quiet?
What are you talking about?
What if this woman, what if she's afraid for her own child?
I don't understand.
What if she doesn't want to cause her own son pain?
Mom, if I were that kid, I'd rather feel the worst pain in the world than discover that I was responsible for an innocent man's conviction.
You haven't told him, have you?
No.
Told me what? Told me what?
I hope you're right, that this is the right thing, Dr. Sloan. Come on.
But you haven't seen Barbara himself? Listen, Cheryl, something just came up. Could you stand on alone for a couple of more hours? Call me if anything happens. Mrs. Foster, you have something you want to tell me?
George, I'm going to try you on some of the new atypical antipsychotics. I want you to take those. If you just stay here in the hospital, we could monitor your side effects.
No, it hurts.
What, the new drugs hurt you?
No, the pale shot. You know, me in this place, this hospital.
Oh, yeah, well, You once spent a lot of time in this hospital.
That's why.
You come and see me, won't you? And let me know how you're doing.
You could come see me.
Absolutely.
Hey, Doc. Not you. The other doc.
Me?
Yeah, Dr. Demento. Thank you for saving my life.
You called me doctor.
Man, I don't know what kind of demons you've been chasing, but I gotta tell you, I'm real glad I got locked up with a doctor.
Well, that's...
What, George?
First time I've been called doctor.
To me, you're the best.
You been released, have you, Brad?
Yeah, they only had me on a drunk and disorderly. What about you, Doc? You gonna be okay?
Well, I don't know. Some days are good. Some days not so good.
Yeah, tell me about it. See ya.
Doug Luck, Dr. Sloan. Speed dog.
Doug Luck. Good luck. Good luck. Speed dog, Godspeed. Same to you, George. Doctor?
वेलकम फ्रेंड्स। तो पहले तो आप मेरा वॉलेट चेक कर लें। ये देखें, मेरे पास 2 डच कॉइन है और 9352 जो है वो शिबा इनू है और पॉलीजिन भी है, हॉरिजन भी है। मैं आपको सी ऑल दिखाता हूँ कि जैसे मैंने पहले आपको वीडियो में बताया था, पिछली वीडियो में, कि मैं नेक्स्ट वीडियो जो बनाऊँगा तो आपको कॉइन बेस में जो मुझे फ्री में फ्यूचर मिल रहा है, मतलब कॉइन्स अर्न हो रहे हैं, उनके बारे में बताऊंगा, वो मैं कैसे अर्न कर रहा हूँ। ठीक है, तो ये कॉइन्स हैं मेरे पास, ये सारे मेरे एसेट में हैं, आप देख सकते हैं। तो चलें वीडियो की तरफ चलते हैं। मैं आपका टाइम वेस्ट नहीं करूँगा ना अपना। पिछली वीडियो में असल में आपको बताना था कि कैसे काम करना है, तो वो ज़्यादा लेंथी हो गई थी, इसलिए उसके ऊपर शायद इसी वजह से व्यूज़ नहीं आए। तो ये वेबसाइट है, इसका लिंक मैं प्रोवाइड कर दूँगा डिस्क्रिप्शन में। तो ये आप देख सकते हैं। मेरे पास जो आज की अर्निंग है वो कितने हैं, 4161 शिबा इनो कॉइन्स मैं अर्न कर चुका हूँ। तो इसमें आपने ये देखें, ये डैशबोर्ड है, रेफरल सिस्टम भी है, विड्रॉ, डेली बोनस। आप डेली बोनस भी यहाँ से हासिल कर सकते हैं और फ्यूसेट भी आप हर 2 मिनट के बाद फ्यूसेट हासिल कर सकते हैं यहाँ से। उसके बाद टास्क में यहाँ पर शॉर्ट लिंक्स भी आप कर सकते हैं, पीटीसी भी कर सकते हैं। जो पीटीसी एड्स हैं वो बिल्कुल इजी होती हैं। आपको दिखाऊं, शॉर्ट लिंक्स का जो काम होता है बहुत लेंथी होता है। ये देखें, ये हैं, हम क्लिक करेंगे व्यू के ऊपर, ये साइट खुलेगी, आपने इसे बैक करके फिर यहाँ आ जाना है। ठीक है, मतलब वो चलती रहेगी पीछे जो आपकी साइट है ना, ये होगी व्यू। तो हम पीछे चलते हैं। यहाँ पर हमने कितना देर रुकना था, 15 सेकंड के लिए। दोबारा से करते हैं। ये देखिए, ये टाइम चल गया। ये कुछ करना है आपने, एक तो इसके बाद ये कैप्चा आएगा, वो सॉल्व करना है। तो ये टोकन है, 50 टोकन्स, ये आपके बैलेंस में ऐड हो जाएंगे। बस इतना सा काम करना है, इसके ऊपर ऐड हो गए। तो मैं आपको दिखाता हूँ हम यहाँ से किस किस चीज़ में विड्रा ले सकते हैं। बीटीसी भी है, एलटीसी और स्टोन में आपको दिखाता हूँ विड्रा, इससे भी दिखाता हूँ अपनी। ये विड्रा में ये देखें, बिटकॉइन, एलटीसी, ट्रॉन और स्लोना, ठीक है, डॉज और थेथर जो है यूएसडीटी है, ये आप जस्ट फ्यूचर पे में ले सकते हैं। इसमें एक पहले ऐड था मैटिक और शिबा इनो, ये आप कॉइन बेस में लेते थे। ठीक हो गया। इस तरह आप, मैं यहाँ से ये शिबा इनो इकट्ठे कर रहा हूँ। पहले मैं इसे मैटिक कर लेता हूँ, आपको हिस्ट्री दिखाऊँ। तो ये देखें, ये अप्रूव हुए पड़े हैं, इंस्टेंट है बिल्कुल। ठीक है, मैं आपको दिखाऊँ। तो अब दूसरा हमने यहाँ से करना है फ्यूसेट। ये देखें, ये हो गया फ्यूसेट। हर 2 मिनट के बाद अपने कैप्चा सॉल्व करना है। ये देखें ऊपर जैसे लाइन है, ये लाइन पे क्लिक करूँगा, मंकी पे, फिर एलिफेंट, फिर उसके बाद ये लिख रहा है सेलेक्ट द इमेज डिस्प्लेड द लीस्ट अमाउंट ऑफ टाइम, मतलब जो इन पिक्चर्स में से जो कम पिक्चर होगी ना, एक होगी पिक्चर। ये देखिए हॉर्स की भी है, ये दूसरे की, ये 2 हो गए, हॉर्स की 2 पिक्चर हो गई। बटरफ्लाई की जस्ट एक ही पिक्चर है, तो मैं बटरफ्लाई पे क्लिक करके वेरीफाई कर दूँगा। 50 टोकन हर 2 मिनट के बाद, 3 मिनट के बाद सॉरी, ठीक है, आपको ये मिलते रहेंगे। तो मैं चलो विड्रॉ करता हूँ, आपको इंस्टेंट विड्रॉ मैं करके दिखाता हूँ। मैं ये शिबा इनू, ठीक है, कैप्चर सॉल्व करूँगा। ये हो गया, ये कम है, इन 2 की है, एक की नहीं है, ठीक है। मैं विड्रॉ कर देता हूँ। ये देखें विड्रॉ, यहाँ से जैसे आप क्लिक करेंगे इंस्टेंट आपके फिर इसमें कॉइन बेस के वॉलेट में रिसीव हो जाएगा। ये आप देख सकते हैं, ये आपका विड्रॉ प्रूफ भी हो गया। तो ये थी आज की इन्फॉर्मेटिव वीडियो। प्लीज़ सब्सक्राइब माई चैनल, मुझे सपोर्ट करें। थैंक यू सो मच।